I'm Erica Rose, and this is my vlog, Winching My Finances. Winching my finances, winching my finances, winching my finances. I started this year with a new budget. That was, I guess, a New Year. I didn't really call it a New Year's resolution, but I did think it was about time for things to change. I did a bunch of research on budgeting and put together what I thought would be a budget I could manage. I had 3 goals in mind: not spending more than I make, paying off debt, and to save money before I spend on big items versus charging it and paying off as I go. Well, I mean, typically when you do new things for the first time, you don't always get it right. I knew that going into this month, and that's not to say I didn't believe in myself, but I, was just, that's how it goes sometimes. The first time's not always the time we're successful. This month, well, first let me say this month was unusual in 2 ways. At the very end of December, the company I work for was acquired. Big surprise. So I was now going into the new year making a different salary, different health insurance, different 401k plan, all that kind of stuff. So I didn't really know what my budget really was going to be going into the new year. This new company is a week off in the date range for their paychecks, so I didn't actually get a full real paycheck till the very end of January, and then I had a clue of kind of what I'll be making. But even then, it's not exactly what I'll be making, because next month my 401k kicks in and money will start coming out for retirement, so then it's gonna look a little different. So I still really don't know what my pay is right now. The second way that this month was unusual was that I got a new health insurance through the company that I now work for. And with this new plan came a deductible. For those of you who don't know what a deductible is, if you're on a health insurance plan, you pay money every month for that plan, and theoretically when something happens, they help you pay for it. Well, a deductible means you have to pay a certain amount of money yourself before they help you pay for it. And so with my new plan and my new deductible, I had some extra expenses this month that I didn't expect. Appointments, like paying almost full price for prescriptions, is a lot. Mental health is expensive. Why does happiness cost so much? Anyway, let's take an overview of this month's spending. My total income for January is $3,650.59. So my income comes from my job and then also rent. But I spent $3,552.53. So I spent a total of 97% of my bread and butter. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to put anything into savings this month. But the good news is I didn't spend more than I made, which is, that's a win for this month. That's a win. My partner's birthday was this month, so I took her to a cabin in Hot Springs, North Carolina. It was beautiful and very peaceful. And I had to spend a little extra money on gas this month and for the Airbnb. I already paid for half of the Airbnb in December, so I had to pay the other half this month. I probably charged it. Who knows if I actually had the money to cover it last month. Anyway, so for gas and travel, it came to $434.13, which was almost 12% of my budget this month. So I think mental health is extremely, extremely important. And to be completely transparent, I see a therapist and I have a psychiatrist who manages my medications. So what that has to do with anything is that this was the month I needed to go see my psychiatrist and get refills on my happy pills. So I had to pay for almost full price for the appointments and almost full price for the prescriptions. And that came to $484.73, which was 13% of my budget. So it's really a miracle that with all those things in mind, I didn't spend more than I made. And I did a really good job denying myself impulse buys for like the first half of the month. I was also really good at logging things and thinking through my budget every night before I went to bed. But something happened and I just started making excuses again. And I knew I was doing it. It was like I had a Washington on one shoulder telling me, you don't have much money, and a Jackson on the other saying, but here's all these reasons. Mostly it was little things, a charger for my phone, a book to help me with work, play money to make these badass stop motion videos in my intro now. But there is one thing that I feel shame for. But less so today, and I'll tell you why in a minute. My back hurts. I need a better chair. I want one of those ones you can kneel in. No way, that is a huge purchase. Not really. I haven't spent that much this month. I mean, surely I can afford it. If you blow your budget, you're gonna be disappointed in yourself. As disappointed as my sore back, always making excuses. This is why you're in debt. I know, you're right. I'll never know. I'm gonna do it. I'm doing it. It's for my health, you know, it's for my back. And so I did it. I bought the chair. And it arrived quickly and I assembled it, and it's a cheap piece of Amazon crap. See, it's already broken. But it is really nice to sit differently. Was it worth $150.49? Unclear. But I did have an opportunity at the end of January to make an extra $100. So that means the chair only costs $50, right? Okay, that's not a good way to think about it. Erica, it was really you lost $50 because you could have had an extra $100 and saved $250. And that's a big difference. And I get caught thinking like that. Sneaky excuses, and I don't even realize that I'm making them. So I set aside $350 for my groceries this month and toiletries, which I usually grab while I'm at the grocery. But I spent $559.75. 15% of my budget. Last month, food was 13% of my budget. December at $579.63. So I really need to be better about it this coming month. I was looking at the 2 months and comparing them, thinking if I see a pattern, maybe I need to raise that budget. But then looking at my overall funding, I really just need to learn to cut down on my spending and shop smarter. I set aside $200 for my pets. I have 3 cats, 1 dog, 4 chickens, a rooster, 2 bird feeders, and some meow mix for the stray cats. Anyway, so I set aside $200 and I really spent $545.82, which was 15% of my total budget. So I need to get more realistic with that number next month. The cost comes mostly from food and boarding. And I did buy the dog food in bulk this month, so I shouldn't be buying any dog food next month. I'm not boarding her overnight coming month, February, just daycare. I save $86 a month towards her daycare package. So I don't know, maybe $200 will be fine next month. I think I'm gonna give it a try. I also had to pay for the bi-color subscription that does Virginia's tracking, and that's once a year, so just this month. As far as shopping and entertainment goes, I spent $323.23, and half of that was the chair that I bought. So I think I did pretty good on controlling my impulse buying. In fact, if I had one takeaway from this month, it was that I did really good with my impulse buying. I mean, except for the chair. Why did I buy the chair? So I created a new kind of tracker for February, and I have a little bit of a different budget because I have a better idea of how much money I'll be making. I planned for, well, I know my 401k money is going to come out next month, so it'll be a little different. So I planned for $3,400 coming from my job and $525 coming from rent to make my total income. And my budget is planning to spend $3,917, so just below what I'll be making. But that includes $900 in savings too. So for January, I just created a list separated by each paycheck with the date and what I bought. But for February, I'm going to combine my You Need a Budget online tracker with this tracker to create one that has a budget for each category and shows how much money is being taken out for each category throughout the month. Which kind of reminds me of the envelope method, where you have the envelopes with money in each one and you go to that envelope and take money out for that category. Well, I'm doing that, but just I'm not having the money cash with me. I'm just going to keep record of it on my tracker. I tried You Need a Budget online this past month, but my bank accounts would never link up correctly, and I also didn't like how they included savings as part of money that you have to spend. And my hope for this February is that I'll actually get to save some money, because I didn't get to save anything in January. That's my goal for this month. Not just staying within my budget, but now saving money, like at least $300. Finally, I am finishing this month with an American Express balance of $705.56, and that is a little lower than $785.37 that I started January with. So remember I said I spent 97% of my income this month? Well, the other 3% I sent to my American Express account to kind of take a little away from there. My Rooms To Go account is down to $1,949. My Citi card is still at $0, and my student loans, which payments have been frozen, thank goodness, let's keep them that way. And so I'm still owing $20,500. My mortgage is barely whittled down at $172,690.20. Well, thanks so much for hanging out and sticking around to hear about how my finances for January went. I want to know, did you stick to your budget? Did you stick to your New Year's resolution? If not, you're in good company. It's our first month. We'll make it through this together. Set simple goals one at a time, and just know that you're improving. You're not perfect month one. I'm not perfect month one. I'm improving, and that's what really counts. That's the goal here. And in the meantime, I'll just keep winching my finances out of the ditch. Thanks for watching Winching My Finances with me, Erica Rode. If you enjoyed it, please hit the like button, and if you want to come with me on my journey, please subscribe.